Hey friends!
Hello friends!
So we are here in an undisclosed location. Clearly we're not sitting in our van because we've sold it. In this video we want to answer some of your questions that we've received. So we put up a question box on Instagram, Facebook and also here on our YouTube channel just to get some of your questions about our big lap of Australia and also about our van. And we've got a good mix of questions here, so we're just going to run through these and hopefully it kind of gives you a bit of a better idea of our experience and answers your questions. All right, so let's get straight into it.
May help with some tips for you as you consider your big lap of the country. All right, so let's start off with Ralph.
No, Rafaela.
Oh, Raf!
Yeah.
I was putting in an L. Sorry, Raf. So, he or she?
You know,
Raf.
you remember Raf?
Oh.
Rafaela?
Sorry, Raf. Hey, just sneaking up on me.
Yeah.
So, she asked what you asked.
Oh gosh, sorry.
What
I typed that wrong. I've got the laptop here.
Set me up.
What was?
The biggest lesson? You set me up. Yeah, ding dong. What was the biggest lesson we learned from van life? Now, that's a really, really good question. It's just learning to live minimalist. You don't need a lot of stuff. So that was a big revelation for us.
Yeah. And I think at the beginning of when you first live in a van and when you're first travelling, you learn a lot of lessons really quickly. Obviously scarcity of resources being one of them, but it takes a little while to kind of ease into this lifestyle and slow down. That is something that we kind of struggle with.
Yeah, then we learnt that was good for us, mentally and particularly. Yeah. The other thing I would answer to that question too would be that this alternative lifestyle makes our heart sing. It's something that we have become to realise that's the only way we kind of want to live. I was so hanging out to get back in a van.
Yeah. Okay, question number 2, and I do have the laptop here, so you might notice I am reading the questions. We don't want to forget any of your questions. Question number 2 was our tips for sourcing water to refill your water tank. So if you're in Australia, number 1 is the Wikicamps app, and there is a little emoji or icon or whatever you call it for water places. We used Wikicamps all the way around the country. And so long as you've got like an inline filter, I think, to put onto your hose, you shouldn't have any problems. Well, we didn't have any problems. And 99% of the time, the water was free. We only had to pay for water 2 or 3 times.
We didn't actually change that out once in the 3 years. You just flushed them through, and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah.
So thanks, Margot, for that question. Next one from Rochelle. Approximate cost of a van like ours? That is quite a broad question because I guess it depends on the age of the van, the year of registration, and also is it 4-wheel drive? So I would say anything between 80,000 to 150 for brand new for something like ours, similar, which would match 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And off-grid.
This is a very common question that we get. This one's from Yes It's Me. The question is there anything we would do differently? So I think there's 2 parts to this question. Number 1, we'll answer it with relating to our van, and number 2, we'll answer it relating to our big lap of Australia. In regards to the van, I think the only thing, and we've discussed this before, the only thing we would do differently is we wouldn't put in the sliding windows, we'd put in those pop-out caravan style
windows. That's in the bedroom area. And actually also in the living area.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got 3 windows that we created, made. All 3 of them would have been so great to have to flip out.
Yeah, because you can't shut them, you can't open them when it's raining. Rain comes in. Yeah. And with regard to our lap, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, and look, it just came down to having to be somewhere for work, and that meant that we missed out on Broome and that that northwest quarter of the country, which is a shame. we will go back. Clearly not in Beastie, but what was the other one?
Spending more time in
that's
Tassie.
right. Yeah, exactly right. We had 6 weeks, and we would say to you guys to spend at least 8.
Yeah. We definitely needed more time in
8
Tassie.
to 9 would have been good.
Yeah. Surf and Sun 7496 asks us the rough ratio of free camps versus caravan parks. It wasn't just free camps and caravan parks that we stayed in, so we weren't sure if you were asking free versus paid or caravan parks versus everything else.
Stealth, all that, all those locations.
But also like all the national park campsites, the low cost donation camps, showgrounds, those sort of things.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at caravan parks versus everything else, we'd say it was less than 10% caravan parks.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like, I don't think we stayed in a caravan park in all of Tassie, Victoria or New South Wales on the way back up.
No.
The last one I remember staying in was in Adelaide, and we stayed there because we had to take the van for a 7 o'clock appointment to get some work done on it.
Exactly. Otherwise, we would have avoided camp sites in South Australia as well.
Yeah. But if you were asking about free versus paid, well, obviously we stayed in free camps whenever we could, and I would say it would have been at least 50% free camps.
And another little tip, if you're game enough to use Google to find those, neat little stealth camps somewhere in the forest, anywhere, that will avoid the caravan parks as well. Just have to be a little bit creative, and it takes a little bit of time.
Stealthy, yeah. We're doing a combined question here about whether we'd recommend the 4x4 Sprinter and did we really need one. So these questions come from Bob Nuttall 461 and Christopher Kent 1563.
Just by looking at the hectic roads of South Australia during that part of our journey, and that'd be a definite yes on both counts.
Yeah, so
you wouldn't get a standard vehicle through there, as evidenced by our
what we're showing you right now. We had to help push that guy out.
Yeah, look, all the other national parks, the roads are kind of rough and rutted and corrugated, but you would get a standard vehicle into those.
I mean, and then the some of the beach driving, so...
Yeah, but we like to go onto the beach.
There were a few times that it got us out of a spot of bother though, like, when we were climbing over rough stuff, so...
So, absolutely yes, if you're taking some of those hectic roads. Do you need it? No, but you would miss out on some of the awesome places that we ventured into. Just right at the very beginning of our trip, up the
Bloomfield track.
Bloomfield track. Wow, I mean, you wouldn't get a standard vehicle through there.
Yeah.
Bumping over creek beds and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one is a bit sinky. We've swapped sides. Nigel doesn't like me being taller.
No.
Okay, do you want to read out the next question?
Next question from Kathy Drury 28. Where did we get our wine rack?
We got our wine rack from Bunnings. Well, the inside of it was from Bunnings.
I thought it was from IKEA. Right, okay.
No, the inside of it was from Bunnings. And then Nigel just put a door on it, which we got from IKEA. So we kind of had to retrofit it a little bit.
The door was... I think I might have had to shave that one down to size too, right?
I think you did. I think we skipped this one.
And what time of the year is best for visiting the Flinders Ranges in South Australia? From John Clark 8282 asked that question.
So for a lot of the destinations that we visited, you'll be able to find information on our website, which is just here, nigelandsueadventures.com. To answer this one specifically, we would recommend going to the Flinders Ranges in the spring or the autumn. In the summer, it's unbearably hot. I mean, the winter can be nice, but it can get quite chilly at night in the outback. So we were there in October and it was just beautiful.
Yeah, really was.
I think we were actually really lucky. I think it was a little bit cooler than normal when we were there, but yeah, so kind of that late autumn, early spring, and maybe the winter would be a good time to be there. That's their main season anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The next question, which is from Photography by Mozzie. Actually, Photography by Mozzie asked 2 questions. So the first one is, have we noticed things quieten down post-COVID madness? I think things have only gotten busier. So we started travelling in 2021. That first year, we really only could go to Queensland because a lot of the state borders in Australia were closed. And there were quite a few Southerners who'd made it up before the borders closed, but it was really only Australians travelling that year. But what we've noticed over the last couple of years is the international travellers coming back. So, yeah, I think things have actually gotten busier since we first started travelling in 2021.
I'm just thinking of the ferry to Tassie. How hard was that to book?
Very hard, very hard. Yeah. And the other question from Photography by Mozzie is, would we consider selling details of the route that we took, our campsites and hikes that we did? Again, I'll redirect you back to our website because we do have a lot of detail there. We have thought about doing ebooks, but it's a time factor. It would be great to have another little source of income coming in. I don't know what the demand would be for something like that, but it is something that we've considered. But if you can't find something on our website, feel free to send us a question.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, so from Rubik Monat, hopefully I pronounced that right. Anything we thought would be essential that we didn't really use? We didn't have anything there, right?
Yeah, we did. I've even got it written down there.
Oh. Well, maybe you can answer this one.
Okay, so the thing that I put down was our 40 amp hour AC charger. So that is the charger that you can plug into shore power to charge up our house battery. So we had a 200 amp hour lithium battery, which we found it absolutely ample to charge just with solar and off the alternator. So that
we didn't
car
really know.
battery.
We didn't know.
No.
And it was like, well, let's have it. Better looking at it than looking for it.
Yeah.
As it turned out, we didn't need it. And the other question from Rubik was, anything we overinvested in? That's what I was thinking. No.
Yeah.
No, but we had a joke about the throwing the toilet.
The $2,000 toilet.
The $2,000 dunny, which I was reluctant to use it. So I'd be out there digging a hole and with a spade and doing my business out in the bush. And then I was like, hang on a minute.
We paid $2,000 for this thing.
$2,000 for this bloody thing. I might as well use it. And no, it was great. But other than that, no, there isn't.
I don't think so. No. I mean, we didn't really go cheap.
We did a glampy build.
Except for one thing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. We kind of bought good quality stuff and it proved itself. You know, it lasted.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think there was anything that
between expensive fridges and the Thetford bloody thing.
The stove.
Yeah, the stove.
Look, we wanted an oven and that was the only option in Australia.
And look, on Australian roads, it's just not designed to handle Australian roads. Here in Europe, where the Thetford design manufacturer comes from, no problem.
Yeah.
You're travelling on smooth roads, but
when you're going off road and that sort of thing. So we had to replace that whole stove just before we sold the van, which was fun.
The next question was, did we do anything too cheaply?
Yeah, so the one cheap thing that we did put into the van was the Chinese diesel heater. So the German brands, the Eberspacher and the S-Bar, all cost around the $2,000 mark, and I think we spent about $200. Which didn't work for the first 2 years.
But it wasn't the issue with the heater.
No, it wasn't.
It was probably the issue with the fella putting it in. To a point. An Eberspacher would have still failed on us. So.
Once we figured out what the problem was, thank you again, Turbo, we, the heater worked fine.
Just wasn't picking up fuel.
Yeah.
So
then Harry asks, what was our preferred area? And he asked about deserts, grasslands, alpine areas, forests. interestingly, Harry, you didn't mention beaches. And our answer to that question would really be anywhere out in nature. So we loved it all. We didn't think that we would love the outback and the desert as much as we did, but we really loved it out there.
Yeah, yeah. Anywhere where we're just miles away from anything or anybody.
Not that we're antisocial.
Not that we hate people. Not at all. But
No, not at all. But yeah, being away from civilization, crowds,
yeah,
that sort of
I could just
thing.
think of that awesome spot in South Australia along the old Garn Railway.
Kurtamerka siding, yeah.
Not a soul in sight. It was almost kind of spooky, but she was. Those are the awesome areas that we liked.
And we loved the variety that Australia has. We've kind of got a whole lot of different places, and it's interesting when we put up some of those videos talking about our favourite places. We had a couple of comments saying, oh, you know, Australia's so boring, just driving and all you see is a tree. So, yeah, I guess it's a different way to look at it, isn't it? We didn't find it boring.
Not at
loved
all.
it.
No,
Yeah.
like, because when it might be just a tree, there might be an emu that hops across, or
Yeah.
a
If you're lucky, we didn't see a lot of wildlife.
or a camel, which we saw a couple of times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you just got to just embrace the nothingness, and it's very. I find it very meditating. You know, just be on the road and Sue's doing work and I'm just there. Just find it very meditating, and you can just go within and just appreciate the fact that you are in nothingness. It's awesome. Yeah. Next question from Jaden: how much did we use the awning? It was funny because at a point there we thought, oh God, we went through this major deal, you know, putting it on. It was quite a major deal. We had to pull half the ceiling to bits.
We've actually never put that video up. We did film it, but we literally had to take half the van apart to put the awning up.
Job.
We should have done it right at the beginning, but we didn't think we'd need one, and then we decided we
Well,
wanted
we kind of did, but then we were sort of hustled to get the thing, you know, in running order to get going on our trip. So, but yeah, no, we did. We certainly used it. The times where we needed it at the start of the trip were when we were in the areas that we got a lot of rain. We would have loved to have had it in sort of far north Queensland.
Yeah, up in the tropics.
And so when it was hot and steamy and we're trying to cook with the door open and the rain's coming in, that would have been a really good time to have it.
Yeah. And interestingly, without giving too much away here, having an awning was one of the things that we really wanted for the next van that we're about to buy.
Which leads us on to the next question. Did we consider keeping the van?
That one's from Will Jen's Adventures. Yes, we did, and it was very sad to part with the van. We looked into and thought about shipping the van to the next destination where we're going to be travelling. There's a whole lot of reasons that we decided not to keep the van. And Will Jen's Adventures actually asked, did we consider putting it in storage? And ultimately, it was going to be a large sum of money just sitting there, and we needed that large sum of money to fund the next stage of our adventures, which is coming. Also, being from Australia, it's a right-hand drive. A lot of the world where we're going to be travelling is left-hand drive, so there were those kind of considerations as well. So and it's quite a big van. So
big van, the age of the van too. I mean, let's be honest, you know, if we're looking to keep it on the road for another 5 or 6 years as we travel through other parts of the world, you know, that was another consideration as well. We did toy with that question a lot. So we didn't take it lightly.
But ultimately, we just decided it was going to be best for us to let that van go to a new home and to find a new home for us. So that brings us to the final question for today, which is, what's next? What are we going to do now? Well, you're going to have to keep watching to find out.
Oh yeah, tease.
I know. But yes, we are in the next destination, and it's morning time here, and very shortly we shall be leaving here to go and...
Well, you're telling a story,
I
not
know,
me.
yeah, no, I don't want to tell too much. You're going to have to keep waiting to keep watching and find out. But we are super excited. We've had a pretty stressful week here, but everything's all going to fall into place today. So we're excited. Keep watching, and thank you so much for being here throughout our Australian series, and we do hope that you will come on the next phase of the journey with us.
Thank you so much for your support and encouragement, and yeah, we look forward to you guys joining us or staying with us for the next chapter.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Soon.